crisis, there's no excuse. You've been loosed.
This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Hello, my listening audience, my Facebook family and friends, my social media platform, the podcast family. Listen, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on our podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspective, Spiritual Truths. Listen, tonight we're going to continue our journey as we, the people, have been focused on this specific path that we've been on. It's a clear path. It's a path of understanding. We have a flag behind us, which is a great symbol of our nation, the unity of our 50 states standing together. Our seal right here is our presidential seal. Why is it there? So we can remember to pray for the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. We're going to keep him lifted up, as well as his cabinet. We're continuing to pray for those people that were on my heart very strongly last year, 265,900,000 working Americans who were living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet. Things are changing in our nation, but it's a process and not an event. 79% of us said last year that we were going in the wrong direction. The majority of citizens spoke loud and clear that we wanted to do something different, and we are doing something different, and it is to the point where a lot of people don't like it, and some are rejoicing, and some are having their blinded eyes opened. So we've repeatedly asked on this venue, who needs to be the leader? Who needs to be in charge? Is he ever in charge or what? Yes, he is. He's a strong leader. And so tonight, we're going to examine something that's generated a lot of discussion. We got a lot of different discussions going on in our nation. Yes, we do. And we're going to talk about a sinking ship. And all this ties directly into our clinical perspective, which has to do with sore losers overcoming. Yeah, the overcoming of those sore losers, but there is a sinking ship. Now let's explore this together. My fellow Americans and my brothers and sisters, remember, we are going somewhere, and it's expecting us when we get there. And I invite you to come and go with me, because you know I'm going to dissect some things. And all I'm going to do is speak truth on here. I don't care what the news says. I look at it for myself. I hear speeches for myself. I use basic logic and deductive reasoning, and I have discernment. So let's go. This time around, in 2024, Democrats thought that they had an additional advantage because of Donald Trump's legal woes, which included 34 felony convictions, which since he left office the first time. Now, one thing that they were not counting on was that we, the people, would understand the dynamics of orchestrated lawfare. To understand orchestrated lawfare is crucial to grasp the definition of lawfare itself, which is generally understood as the strategic use or misuse of law and legal systems to achieve a military, a political, a diplomatic, or economic advantage. The concept of orchestration adds another layer, suggesting a coordinated and deliberate application of legal tactics to achieve a particular goal, often in a systemic or organized way. Now, this year was also the first presidential race since January 6, 2021, where there was a supposed attack on the Capitol. Now, as we are discovering the dynamics that entire fiasco has coupled with it, it's unraveling. Oh, yeah. We have done a podcast on that. Go back and listen to episode 190. It's the power of rejecting political lies, and the clinical perspective is freedom from gaslighting. that has been riddled with gaslighting. We've been lied to, and it's all come out. And if you have any doubts, listen to the former chief of police of Washington, D.C., Stephen Son, as he lays it all out to help us to learn what was strategically, well, it had been strategically hidden from us, but it's come out. Episode 190, you can go on YouTube. Facebook is doing something now with live broadcasts. They're taking it down after 30 days. But I'm going to be transitioning everything eventually over to other mediums. So we'll talk about that, and that will unfold as we go because of how they're doing things differently on Facebook. And that's fine. That's their entity, and they allow us to come on, and we appreciate it. Thank you. So instead of celebrating big wins based on what we were told would happen, Democrats were left to analyze how Donald John Trump, despite all the baggage that was thrown at him, how was he able to convince voters that he was the better candidate? They were telling us that Kamala Harris was ahead, that the race was close. I knew it was a lie. And so we, the people, spoke, and we ended up, after the election, having a GOP trifecta in control of every aspect of political functioning. So many Democrats have pointed fingers at Joe Biden, whose disastrous debate against Donald Trump in June of 2024 had prompted other party leaders to convince him not to seek a second term. There were Democrats that were very adamant about that. Some now say that Biden and his team should have recognized his limitations earlier and not sought re-election at all. That's the only scenario I can think of where we might have had a chance is if Biden had never run for re-election. Those were the words of Representative Jared Huffman out of California. He said, I just think we may have had a chance if he hadn't run for re-election. Well, we got the results we did. And he got out when he did. And then Kamala showed up when she did. And she lost hands down. So he went on to say the White House did a pretty good job of keeping up appearances and concealing the problem. And it's a shame. It's a terrible shame that there wasn't more self-awareness there. And he went on to talk about ego, ambition, and other human qualities being powerful factors involved in everything that unfolded. A significant number of Democrats called for Biden to drop out, to get off the ballot, saying that the long delay in making that decision left Harris in a difficult position of explaining why she hadn't sounded the alarm on his fitness sooner. So the bottom line is they were lying all along. Oh, yeah, they were. They were lying all along. There's nothing new there. They have always lied. He was struggling for months, Joe Biden was, and a lot of people asked Vice President Harris, they said, well, you saw him struggling. Did you think that was okay? Well, what did it do? It put her in a bad position. She kept playing it off like everything's fine. We're just hunky-dory over here. Everything's good. Some, however, put the onus on themselves for not calling on Biden to quit sooner. We're just talking about, we're thinking out loud here in terms of the dynamics that went on about this sinking ship. One of the Democrat leaders stated, I only regret I didn't do it earlier. That he talked about in terms of urging Biden to step aside. He said, I think it's unfortunate that he took 3 weeks to decide. Well, it was a crucial 3 weeks, but I don't care if he had done it earlier. He was going to lose. She was going to lose. Trump headed back to the White House for 4 years. 4 more years. And House Democrats are looking ahead to the 2026 midterm elections. This year is over half gone, 2025. What they say is their next best hope of putting a check on the GOP's control in Washington, the 2026 midterm elections. There's a sinking ship, guys. Let's keep going. Some have stated it's going to be a long 4 years and we have to take it one day at a time. But the most important period will be the first 2 years. That's when Donald Trump is going to set the tone of how much of a tyrant he'll be, they said. And when our pushing back will count the most. Other things they are saying, but it's also the 2 years that leads up to the greatest opportunity for us, they're saying for us to have an effective check on him with the midterm elections. They said there are other factors, but the first 2 years. So let me tell you this, 7 months into this thing, 8 months into this, 9 months into this, he's out the gate running. 7, 8 months. That man, he had 20 promises. If you go on my Facebook page and look at the pinned post, the one that's at the top, the pinned one, he met all 20 promises because he had been working. He's proactive. He's not some goofball that don't know what he's doing. In the first 30 days, those 20 promises were already fulfilled or well in motion. That's not a dumb person. So they're scared, guys. They're scared because they have a sinking ship. They were sitting on the caps of the steps of the Capitol in tears one given day. The tears are a reflection of a deeper fear. As one tweet pointed out on X, they know it's over. That's what they said. They said it's over. Over what? Oh, what over what? What's over? You may ask. It all circles back to the looming possibility of a major political shift, especially concerning immigration policy and its implications on their future, because they know it's over. I repeat, they know it's over. When we say it's over, it's not just some casual remark. This sentiment is rooted in the potential fallout from major legislative changes that could reshape the entire American political landscape for a long time to come. If reports are to believe, the deportation of 20 million undocumented immigrants, sometimes referred to as criminal aliens, is on the table. This is not just a statistic, guys, it's a game changer. The political ramifications of such a move could be massive, possibly leading to the Democrats losing up to 25 House seats and every presidential election for a generation. That's a staggering thought. And it's no wonder they're feeling the pressure. Once 20 million illegal criminal aliens are deported, they have no future. The Democratic Party doesn't have any future. Remember, who is they? The Obama, Biden, Harris cabal was actually paroling people out of prisons in Haiti, Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, as we paid for their housing, health care, child daycare, education, food, and free monthly money card. A lot of people don't know that. I say it a lot on my platform, especially on Facebook and my social media platform. They don't know that that's what they were doing. The idea of deporting millions of people is not just a policy proposal. It's a deeply emotional issue for many. For congressmen and their supporters, this potential reality represents a loss of future voters who could sway elections in their favor. The Democratic Party has long relied on diverse voter bases, including immigrant communities, to maintain its power in Congress. And I might add, I keep telling Black Americans, they're done. They're done with Black Americans. Look at all the money was going. It wasn't. Y'all been talking about reparations and we don't have this. You're not getting it. Not through them. They have moved on to a different voter block, and it's called illegal immigrants. If you don't know it by now, you may as well just take the blinders off, sweetie, because that's just a reality. If these communities are to be significantly diminished, talking about the illegal immigrants, they're done with black Americans. Y'all need to get a wake-up call. It's just the truth. It's not hard to prove. I talk about it all the time. You just got to use basic logic and deductive reasoning. The future of the party looks bleak right now, guys. This is likely why many Congress members found themselves on the steps of the Capitol one day seemingly overcome with emotion. They had a reality check. The fear of losing political ground is palpable. It's possible. It is highly possible. They're going to lose it. Actually, the sinking palpable. And that's what I was trying to say. My was coming out wrong. But this is what's unfolding, guys, and it's locking in. Suddenly, they seem to have no path to power. That's called a sinking ship. So what does it mean to have no path to power? What does that mean? For many, this phrase encapsulates fears that the Democratic Party could face a significant decline in influence across the board. If deportations happen, as some predict, it's already in motion, illegal immigrants being here, us no longer paying all those things for them that I have specified and laid out, and I lay it out over and over and over again. We want them here, but they have to be here legally. So if deportations happen, as some predict, the demographic shifts could lead to a Republican stronghold in House seats and in the executive branch. Now, right now about this, and I'm just J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, oh my God, you talking about some strength there, and Donald Trump. He is just in a whole league on his own. I've seen 13 different presidents in my lifetime. By far, he's the strongest I've ever seen. This is not just speculation. It's a reality that political analysts have been discussing for years. The notion that they'll lose 25 House seats isn't just a number. It signifies the potential dismantling of decades of progress for the party. It just is. That's the reality. They'll lose 25 House seats and every presidential race for a whole generation. The response to that for millions of Americans is good. Ha! We're glad. Oh, yeah. Imagine waking up one day to find that your party has lost a quarter of its seats in the House of Representatives. That's the kind of upheaval. That's the kind of upheaval that could lead to a decade or more of Republican dominance. Many Democrats are feeling the weight of this potential scenario. If the political landscape shifts, it could rewrite the rules of engagement for future elections. Losing every presidential election for a generation is a daunting prospect. And it's understandable why tears might flow at such a thought. The emotional toll of political uncertainty with the stakes so high, it's not just about numbers and seats. It's about real lives and communities. It really is. The emotional toll of this uncertainty weighs heavily on those in power. It's one thing to discuss policies in abstract terms, but when you're looking at the potential for widespread deportation, it becomes far more personal. Many congressmen, congresspeople are grappling with the implications of these policies, not just for their careers, but for the very fabric of the communities that they represent. It's just a reality. It really is a reality. Yet they did it to themselves. How? They did it to themselves with policies such as that prison release program from other countries. They shot themselves in the foot. The very things that the majority of we the people were concerned about was the very things that the Obama, Biden, Harris cabal was supporting and pushing. And they lied, and they got exposed. They located themselves. I say that a lot. Oh, you just located yourself. Once people locate themselves with me, it's like, I get it. Thank you for locating yourself. They located themselves, and people are understanding now, and they're walking away from them. They're walking away. That's why it's a sinking ship. I'm grateful speaking of a sinking ship, I am very grateful that the New York Appeals Court has thrown out the $500 million penalty against President Trump in the Letitia James civil case. It absolutely amazes me the levels of accountability that are unfolding. Keep praying, people. My fellow Americans and my brothers and sisters, keep praying. We are just 7-8 months in, going into 9 months in, and there's more to come. Oh yeah, the previous words of Miss James, who orchestrated lawfare against our amazing president, goes something like this. She said, Miss James said, we will use every area of the law to investigate President Trump and his business transactions and that of his family as well. We want to investigate anyone in his orbit. Now remember, anyone in someone's orbit. We're going to get back to that in a minute. We want to investigate anyone in his orbit who has, in fact, violated the law. Donald Trump's days of frauding Americans are coming to an end. We can spot a carnival barker, she said. I will shine a light into every dark corner of his real estate dealings and every dealing. Now, New York Attorney General Letitia James is the subject of a state-level ethics complaint filed by pro-Trump legal nonprofit AFL, America First Legal, AFL. The AFL complaint adds to the woes for Miss James, who's also facing criminal accusations of mortgage fraud. Mortgage fraud seems to align with real estate dealings. So who was defrauding who? Who is the real carnival barker, Miss James? Who's the real carnival barker? In the words of AFL Vice President Dan Epstein, for a state prosecutor who has maligned the President of the United States for political gain, public accountability will serve as a cure to Letitia James's endless lawfare and abuse of power. This is the same woman who tried to destroy the life of my dear sister and friend, Bevelyn Beatty Williams. Thank God that President Trump pardoned her. And I invite you to go see the movie Pardon Me. You can, if you go on Bevelyn Beatty Williams or her husband, Ricky Williams, on their page, or Diamond and Silk on their page, Pardon Me, you can access the link to be able to stream that movie. I watched it 3 times. When you stream it, you have access to it for 24 hours. In 24 hours, I looked at it 3 times. It really spoke to the core of my soul because I could identify with so many issues that were addressed in it. Hats off to all of you that were involved in that. If I've said it once, I'll say it again. The Democrat, and I really encourage you to see it, and just, I'm a clinician. I just see things I go up a whole other side of the mountain, and I had some personal aspects of it that I could identify with, pardon me. And I also, as a clinician, it was so much was popping in my mind as I was looking at it. Oh yes, in terms of people getting well. You got to go there. If I've said it once, I'll say it again. The Democratic Party has been getting over on we the people like a fat rat. By and large, they did not give a rip about you and your family. This sinking ship. They didn't give about you and your family. They have used and abused the citizens of this nation, yet we were taught that we all have to stick together no matter what, particularly black Americans. That's what we were taught. We were their slaves. It's so easy to prove. They've been successful at convincing millions of people that they are friends of we the people. That's the result of being duped and being deceived, if you believe it, because the evidence says something totally different. They thought more of illegal immigrants and you paying and us paying for that than they did you. They didn't care about what you didn't have for your children last year when 78% of working Americans were living paycheck to paycheck and barely making ends meet. They didn't care. But so what's happening now is that blinded eyes are opening. In modern times, all that the Obama, Biden, Harris cabal wanted from you was your taxpayer dollars to pay for paroling those illegal immigrants out of prison in Cuba, Haiti, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, and flying them into this country for you to pay for their housing, health care, food, child daycare, education, free monthly money card. They had a specific goal to get them to vote as illegal immigrants, yet they needed to be government dependents. As you read what is unfolded and you hear me and all of these other people that we're fully informed. Oh yeah, we're not indoctrinated anymore. We got delivered. As you hear these facts being presented, you can see the involvement of shelters for illegal immigrants. That's what went on in New York. That's what the dynamics that are going on when you saw the mayor, Eric Adams, people, his right-hand woman, lady that was helping him, had marched out in handcuffs, as well as a couple of others, 2 or 3 others, yeah. And they were all got bribes, guys, taking our money. Though they had those illegal immigrants coming in here, and they were getting their bribes and their cut out of the big amounts of millions and billions of dollars. And it all had to do with the involvement of shelters for illegal immigrants, guys. They were getting over on us like a fat rat. They were. They've always specialized in using people of color for specific agenda promotions. Kamala Harris was a border czar, and this is what she was doing. Yes, it was all supported by Obama and Biden and the Democratic Party. When Obama was in office, a lot of that stimulus money, remember the stimulus money, went to his cronies and their companies that filed bankruptcy, like Solyndra, Spectra Watt, and many others. This is yet another blatant example of them getting over on us like a fat rat. Oh yeah, getting over on us, y'all know what that means. They used and abused us for money, and they were living a life of luxury with pockets lined, laughing all the way to the bank. But what I've seen as of late is that they're being carted off in handcuffs because there's a day of reckoning. A reckoning. They worked relentlessly to expand the base of those who would be used as pawns. They let criminals walk the streets under their catch and release policies. For 3 consecutive months, guys, illegal immigrants crossing our border has been at 0. Under the Trump administration, what influence will that have on our crime rate, guys? That's amazing. This is why people like Maxine Waters and Hakeem Jeffries are belly aching, because they have been found out to try to keep people, we the people, distracted. They'll get up on the mainstream media and promote lies, propaganda, misinformation, and division. That's their modus operandi. That's all they've ever done in the past. But because President Trump won, they can't hide anymore. The orchestrated lawfare against him was to shut him down. You know what happened to that man in Butler, Pennsylvania. Wow, we're talking about a lot of warfare here. We're talking about a lot of opposition. It's a lot at stake, guys. A lot is at stake. Look at what happened to the mayor. Go Google it. The mayor in New Orleans, bribery, arrested. The city councilman in New Orleans, bribery. I think he got $800,000. It's relentless, and there's many more to come. Guys, Their gravy train has come to an end. It's a sinking ship. President Trump wants us to prosper and be successful as citizens. And you know, my clinical mind always goes as evidenced by what? The Trump account, giving $1,000 of seed money to any child that's born between 2025 and 2028. And if you put $5,000 in those accounts, it's tax-free. It's going to build. By the time they're 18 years old, it will be at least $90,000 in there, at least just based on putting $5,000 a year in there. And then it's going to grow. It's going to grow like an IRA. Why? It's going to be invested. And you can take it out when they're 18 to start a business, pay on their education, or buy a house. My God, never heard of that. That's Donald John Trump. He's setting us up for success. And all these companies coming in here investing billions of dollars. Listen, all of this fiasco of what they were doing, abusing us, all that was going on while 78% of working Americans were living paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck, guys, barely making ends meet. Their focus was on padding their pockets while American citizens suffered. They did not care. Is the picture clear? They didn't care. DOG's, DOG, the Department of Governmental Efficiency, boy, they bucked on that one, didn't they? Maxine Waters said, we don't know what they have on us. Now we do. DOJ's financial audit of USAID prompted Democrat cries that thousands would die without its funding. That's a part of their bleeding heart cries as they manipulated and lied. Non-governmental organizations, NGOs, were often just a front to launder money and to promote woke agendas. 83% of those things have been shut down, rightfully so. And the rest that still exist are under the jurisdiction and the leadership of Marco Rubio and as Secretary of State. Thank God. They lived, those people that had those NGOs, they lived in luxury, getting over on us like a fat rat without money as hardworking Americans were their pawns. Bringing in the millions of illegal immigrants was an integral part of keeping their fiascos going, guys. Put your seatbelt on, my friends. Put it on. We're months in. We are not even 1 year in. 9 months in, and this is the tip of the iceberg. I wouldn't be surprised at anything that they would do to keep the whole truth from being revealed. They don't want it coming out. That's why they're acting out. That's why they keep pushing the lies and the propaganda. Those of you who are resisting the truth simply need to yield to the truth of what actually occurred. Stop being in denial. DENIAL. Don't even notice I am lying. Denial. They don't care about you. You don't have to stay bamboozled, baby. You don't. That's what they want, for us to be deceived, manipulated, and controlled. Today, it just may be your moment of truth. The evidence is all around. They ignored illegal immigration concerns and the economy. Those were the two things that caused President Trump to win: the illegal immigration and the economy. And he is knocking it out the park. Grand slam home runs over and over again in both. There's for 3 consecutive months, no illegal immigration happened across that border. And they got the northern border through his wrangling and holding accountable and holding to task. Canada, they patrol it with drones. Let me tell you. You talking about a leadership with backbone? If you don't know, listen, just be truthful. Use logic and deductive reasoning and intellectual honesty. Trump doesn't ignore it that the illegal immigration issue is resolved. The economy is booming. The GDP is booming. Billions of dollars, Apple, the United Arab Emirates, these people are investing trillions of dollars in our economy. Oh yeah, the tariffs. And if he had his way, we wouldn't even be paying income tax. He wants us to take that money home, because it's going to be so much money generated. He said this will take care of everything. I love it. Pray over that man. Pray over his cabinet. That's why he won, and the Democratic Party has become a sinking ship, as an approval rating has gotten as low as 27% this year. In 2025, between them promoting illegal immigration and the dismembering, burning, and liquefying of our tiny citizens with viable heartbeats, the focus on sexuality, and all these things and the dynamics thereof, it has cost them. They created a sinking ship by focusing on DEI. I already talked about how the sheer chaos that DEI had on the safety as it relates to our airline industry. We had 1,000 people who had completed their training and education to be our air traffic controller, and they were taken out of the employment pool overnight by the Biden-Harris cabal. Why? Because they were white Americans. Yes, my fellow Americans were taken out of an employment pool because they were white, because of DEI. So they compromised our safety. This is why all this mess has been going on, this chaos in airports. Look, wow, that's heavy to me when I really think about what they did to my fellow Americans just because they were white. That's crazy. With the Democratic Party facing the reality of having a sinking ship, let's look at political strategies. And the future, as the political landscape evolves, it's crucial for parties to adapt. The Democratic Party may need to rethink its strategies to maintain relevance amid changing demographics and public sentiment. The media used to lie on their behalf, and that was the basis that they used to repeat things over and over again. And that's what Hakeem Jeffries is doing, saying things that are simply not true. I mean, he really is pitiful right now because he's flat out lying, and it's so easy to prove it. The truth is out there for all of us to see. For 4 years, they lied. Now the facts are glaring. Inflation rate is 2.7%. After it had gotten as high as 9% under Biden. Stocks are at record highs. Unemployment, it stays steady at 4.2%. And I saw where ICE, they'll pay off your student loan. They are, oh boy, if you want a job, and they're giving $60,000, I believe it was, signing bonus. Training, the big, beautiful bill includes some amazing employment opportunities. And all of those opportunities, so many of them are centered around our safety. Okay. There's a lot going on, guys. We've had the 3 consecutive months of the border crossing being at zero. Factories are building jobs here. And here in Tulsa, there are people starting at $80,000 a year for a salary. Business at that aluminum plant. Businesses are expanding. Apple's investing billions and trillions. Companies are investing. And do you think Hakeem Jeffries at least congratulated President Trump on any accomplishment? I heard one of them congratulate him, Bernie Sanders. He said, Trump's done a good job with the border. Yeah, well, thank you. He appreciates that. They had said the economy would falter and that there would be a massive recession. Yet it hadn't happened. Immediately, Hakeem Jeffries stated in an interview that Donald Trump, when somebody brought up all these successes, he said, well, Donald Trump said that one day that the cost would go down, and that hasn't happened. He's gone on to say that job creation has gone down to record lows, bona fide lie. He's rooting for America to fail. Think about the difference between a government-funded life versus someone making $80,000 a year for starters. Starting off at $80,000 a year or being a government dependent. They want socialism where people are dependent on the government and have no way of writing their own ticket in life, sitting at home all day and depending on the government to take care of you or writing your own ticket. That's a choice. That's where we're at. And this welfare to work program. Oh yeah, you got to be doing something 20 hours a week to get your benefits. Bill Clinton started that. It worked well. Ronald Reagan did something similar, but it was thriving under Bill Clinton. Oh yeah. And who stopped it? Barack Hussein Obama. Yeah, he did. He stopped it. I was the clinical director and program director at a substance abuse treatment program for women and their minor dependent children. We gave priority to women who were pregnant and using. They went to the top of the list. Those women were thriving through their welfare to work program. They were either they were in school or working. They had to be doing something proactive. 20 hours a week, and they came off of welfare, and they were some proud women. The money comes from we the people to maintain these dependent lifestyles. The fear of losing power can drive innovation and change, forcing parties to connect with voters in new and meaningful ways. It's a new flow, but powerful things can happen. Listen, this sinking ship is real. So, the public perception and media narratives has played a huge role in what has been going on. But it's continued, if the narrative continues to highlight weakness and despair, it could reinforce the belief that the party is out of touch with its base, and that's all they keep doing. Honestly, I believe that this is exactly where they are. This is where the Democratic Party is totally out of touch with the majority of the people, and the low polls indicates the same. So, on the flip side, if they can pivot the conversation to focus on actionable solutions and hope for a better future, they could change the game entirely, and this could bring in the question, what's next for the Democratic Party? They're going to continue to sink, or what's the future of the Democratic Party? What are they going to do to engage the community with honesty? It's a chance for the party to engage with voters on a deeper level, but I honestly don't think it's in them. I don't think it's in them. I really don't. I don't think it's in them. I don't think they can do it. They have been so entrenched with deception and lies for so long. The thing is that their goals in 2024, they literally forgot about we the people. They just forgot. They forgot about we the people. They didn't care. So when they were sobbing on the steps of the Capitol, that was a reality check. It was a powerful symbol of the fear and the uncertainty that they are experiencing, and it's real. The destiny of our nation as a whole is hanging in the balance, but I'm going to tell you what, things have changed, and we are going in a totally different direction, and I venture to say we're going in the right direction. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day, and we deserve it. We deserve this change, guys. The strategies that we need that they implement, I don't think it's in them because they're so sinister, and they've been drunk on power. They've been doing knee-jerk. We're seeing knee-jerk reactions, but people are waking up. It's normal to feel disappointed, to feel dismayed if things didn't go the way it was supposed to. But listen, it is what it is. Now, listen. How can you be how can you stop being a sore loser? A sore loser. I just want to give a few points on that. We've gone a little over, but this is important. All this is went a little longer than I anticipated, but it's okay. Stomping off the field or stomping off as a sore loser, is that good sportsmanship? Is it? Is it? The good news is that you can work to overcome those feelings. The first step, this is our clinical perspective. Start, when you're feeling that way, look at the positives and the lessons in learning and that you can learn in losing. Congratulate the winner. Say, hey, we missed it on some areas, and talk about what those things are. Having a healthy attitude towards losing, you'll find yourself becoming more gracious and respected as a competitor. Staying positive, realizing that you might have a chance to turn things around. around may be a way of looking at things. What would happen if we learned from criticism instead of ignoring it, seeking out constructive feedback and use it to improve our abilities and our skills? What would happen if we embrace, hey, this is an experience, we can learn from it, and we can practice learning to speak to ourselves with encouragement about what we can do differently, guys. The world is not ending because someone lost. A sore loser, having that attitude of a sore loser is a habit that's hard to break. But it's important to make an effort. No one likes to lose, but how you handle it is all about maturity. Listen, tonight, what have we looked at? We've looked at a sinking ship. And what do we do about being a sore loser? Listen, guys, we are going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there. I don't know if the Democrat Party can turn it around because they are digging their heels in with lies and deception, and people don't want to have anything to do with it anymore. I'm seeing more and more and more Black Americans on TikTok and on this, that, and the other on social media, and they're making videos, and they're just like, I'm done with them. They say, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore, and that's going to spread more and more because there's a new sheriff in town. There's a new sheriff in town, and we're going in a different direction. Listen, we are one nation under God. Yes, we are. Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we go together, us together, from destruction to dignity. I want you to stay on the outlook for Janice Pons on Patreon. I'm solidifying that. Thank you for the encouragement. I'm going to have that exclusive content that has been requested of me. I'm solidifying that. We're going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there. Thank you for those that are going to look at it and will subscribe. Thank you for sharing your comments, and you're more active in the comments on the podcast, on the areas where it is. I appreciate you guys. I will see you next week. God bless you. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are one power, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.